How do you overcome your mental barriers? For me, I think in order to overcome the majority of your mental barriers, you first have to start at acknowledging your worth. You know, when you don't really have too much of a sense of self-worth, you tend to be very codependent. So in being codependent, you attempt to validate yourself through elevating other people or pointing out the good things about them, their positive traits, trying to reinforce them and bring light to them and capitalize on them. And I think the first thing to do is one, to stop that behavior. I mean, unless it's profitable for you, but I think the first thing you need to do is just altogether stop that behavior and reflect it back on yourself, where instead of trying to elevate other people, you're elevating yourself. You're acknowledging the things about yourself that have value and trying to bring those things to light. I think we get too caught up in trying to make someone else see what they have that's valuable and what makes them great, that we lose the genuine acknowledgement of how great we are. And I think this is like the first most crucial step to overcoming your own mental barriers, because first and foremost, you need to be looking up at yourself, because we always look down on ourselves and we always judge ourselves, especially when we're looking up towards other people and they look down on us, because ultimately we don't see eye to eye with ourselves or look up at ourselves. We solely look down on ourselves. In other words, any mistake, any limitation, any barrier, we shit on ourselves. So first and foremost, you need to relinquish yourself of that habit of caring about other people, even though we should care about people, but ultimately we need to relinquish that idea and learn to just care about ourselves. And in caring about yourself, in loving yourself, in trying to elevate and bring all the value that you can to yourself, slowly you'll start to notice that you start to bring more value to other people. And on the road there, because it's not something, you just wake up and boom, you're capable of it. No, it's a road. It's a lot of work. On the road there, you're going to notice that you bring yourself down, that there's people who work with you and need you to a certain extent at some given moment, and that you're way ahead of them in some regards. Of course, they're ahead of you in other regards, but you're ahead of them in the things that you need to be ahead of them in. You just don't acknowledge that. And the moment you start acknowledging that, you start to pull away. And it's not because you feel like you're better than anybody. It's because you start to acknowledge, wait, why am I here when I should be all the way over there? Because you realize you're the parachute. You're the thing holding yourself back. You have to take off that parachute of self-doubt, of mental barriers, of challenges that you face, so that you can get yourself to where you truly want to be. Because at that point, all the negative things that you perceive about yourself or that others perceive about you, all the doubts that you have, all the negativity, it starts to dwindle, because it piggybacks on the fact that you lack the positivity in yourself necessary to reinforce to yourself, no, that's all bullshit. And once you start to acknowledge truly your own self-worth, your light, the amount of positivity that you start to exude, you'll notice that any source of negativity, one, it starts to become very blatant. Like, you'll notice that it is very there. And two, you'll notice that if it doesn't have control over you by any means necessary, it will try to push you away as far as possible, or you slowly will start to pull away from it because you realize it stands in the way of your positive self-worth.